Hey guys, want some weird, interesting stuff? Sure man, bring it on. Give it to me. Yeah, me too. Hey, get the fuck away from here, freaking junkies. I'm not giving you any snow or pills. I'll need those for the next video. Keep your pills on snow, man. Give us another portion of weird, interesting stuff about history. There haven't been any for a long time, man. Stop our agony. Oh, so you're junkies hooked on history. Okay, got it. Here you go. Well, we all know that the Olympic Games are held once every 4 years, and each of them has its own numbering. So, the first Olympics of our time were held in 1896 in Athens, in the country of the ancestor of the Games, which is Greece. The second Games were in Paris. But the third Olympics, in 1904, the IOC decided to hold on a different continent. Several American cities were considered, namely Buffalo, New York, St. Louis, Philadelphia, and Chicago. The choice fell on St. Louis. No, not because the city was most suitable for the Olympics, no. It was just that the World Exhibition, which was very popular, was held there at the same time. And yes, a lot more people came to the exhibition than to the Olympics. Of course, the high cost of the trip and the unleashed Russo-Japanese War were also a deal. So many athletes from Europe, Asia and Australia just couldn't come, except for 53 official representatives of England, Hungary, Germany and Greece. When the Olympics finally kicked off, only 12 countries took part. And in more than half of the competitions, medals were contested exclusively between Americans, well, since they accounted for 523 athletes out of 630. The games stretched for almost 5 months and were relegated to the background by other events. But the smart-ass organizers of the World Exhibition decided to use the term Olympic for all sports competitions that took place in the city during the exhibition, which of course led to great confusion. But there were oddities not only in the organization but also in the competitions. For example, a Japanese athlete, unofficial of course, Savao Funi, who participated in pole vaulting for the first time in his life, decided that the essence of the competition was to get over the bar with the help of a pole. So the athlete got a stronger pole than the other participants had, stuck it in the sand in front of the bar, quickly climbed on it, and jumped over the bar. When the organizers explained to the Japanese that he was supposed to take a run before the jump, he nodded, went back, ran along the track, stopped, stuck the pole in the sand in front of the bar, quickly climbed on it, and jumped over the bar. Further attempts to explain the essence of the competition to the Olympian were unsuccessful. Savao Funi was dismissed from the competition, and his result was not counted. The offended athlete said that the judges messed with him because of his Asian origin, and indignant articles about dishonest refereeing appeared in the Japanese papers. There were also Anthropological days, which took place on August 12th and 13th. For the record, they were arranged by the organizers of the exhibition, not by the IOC. This kind of racial experiment was carried out with the aim of debunking the myth about the phenomenon of natural athleticism of savages, during which athletes of uncivilized peoples competed. 30 racial types were selected, including Native Americans, Pygmies, Filipinos, Patagonians, and Eskimos, whose representatives competed with each other in 18 disciplines. The participants were recruited without any regard to their professional background. The discipline rules were provided only in English, which most of them didn't know. A Congolese pygmy, for example, was simply listed in the official record as a cannibal. They competed with each other in national costumes, and being frightened by the starting shot, the sprinters scattered in different directions. Instead of a medal, the winners were awarded the US flag and fed free meals. By the way, according to the organizers of the ethnic games, the experiment was a success. Absolutely unprepared participants failed to succeed in any discipline, and not a single Caucasian record was broken. Wild and uncivilized tribesmen have shown to be weak athletes, proving in practice that their abilities are often clearly overestimated. Well, the Ku Klux Klan members must have been very happy. But the IOC president, Pierre de Coubertin, strongly condemned the American plantation owners' attitude and left the games before they were over. Thanks to his efforts, this never happened again in the further history of the Olympic Games. Then there was this athlete, Georg Iser, later named George Iser, who became the best on parallel bars, vault and rope climbing. won silver in all-around and on horseback, as well as bronze on the crossbar.
What's so special about that? The dude just beat everyone in his discipline.
Well, yeah, you're right. Unless, of course, you take into account that George was one-legged, although he had a wooden leg. Still, not every two-legged could accomplish such a feat. And this disabled man screwed up all of his able rivals. Of course, the very apogee of those Olympics was the 40-kilometer marathon. Yes, exactly 40 kilometers, not 42. Where among the runners there were 10 Greeks who had never run a marathon before, 2 barefoot representatives of the South African Swana tribe, a Cuban postman, a simulating false winner, and a doping champion. But let's start from the beginning. The marathon began at 3 p.m. when the air temperature reached 86 degrees Fahrenheit. The route passed through 7 hills with tedious climbs. In many places on the dusty road there were stones all over, and then, occasionally, there were cars and horses passing by. Plus, the organizers offered the participants the only drinking point, a well 17 kilometers after the start. Why so? 'Cause the marathon was messed up. No, it's just that the head of the organizing committee of the games, James Sullivan, wanted to collect data on the features of controlled dehydration. As I said, it was a messed up marathon. As a result, out of 32 people, only 14 finished. So, 9th and 12th places were taken by South African students. Oh, South Africa didn't send a delegation. The guys just came and ran. They ran barefoot. Why? Well, probably because they didn't want their feet to stink. By the way, Len Tawanyane, who came 9th, was almost bitten to death by a pack of stray dogs. He was forced to run away into the corn and broke away from his pursuers only after 3 kilometers of running through the cornfield. In theory, he could become a winner if he ran from the dogs in the right direction. The 4th to arrive was Cuban postman Felix Carvajal. To participate in the marathon, he collected money for the trip by begging. And he succeeded. But when he arrived in New Orleans, all his money was stolen. By whom? By women and gambling. So he had to hitchhike and walk the rest of the way. 2 days later, without money, food, or water, he showed up, almost late, at the start wearing his uniform, a shirt with long sleeves and trousers, which, by the way, contradicted the rules, so Felix had to cut off the excess with a knife. By the way, in his homeland, Carvajal ran much longer distances and once even crossed the whole of Cuba. Therefore, he was confident in his 100% victory. What he didn't take into account was that he hadn't eaten for 2 days. And when he finally had the opportunity, he ate some fruit in the orchards near the track. The Cuban postman's stomach started aching, and he decided that if he lay down, the pain would go away. As a result, he felt worn out and fell asleep in the shade. However, eventually he woke up, ran, and finished 4th. The first to come to the finish line was the bricklayer Fred Lortz, who after 15 kilometers felt tired of dehydration and simply asked for a ride in a car driving towards the finish line. When 7 kilometers were left to the finish line, the car suddenly broke down, but Lortz was already feeling better and decided to run to the finish line on his own. When he came to the finish line, everyone began to congratulate him, and the medal was presented by Alice Roosevelt, the daughter of that guy from a dime. But after 20 minutes, that driver drove up and went like, "Hey, aren't you the guy I gave a lift earlier?" And everyone got suspicious all of a sudden. No, I wasn't gonna accept the award. I just finished the race, for fun. I wanted to see your faces. It's just a prank. In short, Lortz was exposed and disqualified for life. But he apologized, got a cookie, and won another marathon in 1905. Thomas Hicks became the winner, a staunch guy whom the coaches drugged all the way with rat poison to stimulate muscle activity, but he held on with dignity. Hicks was on the verge of losing consciousness several times from dehydration. In the second part of the distance, Hugh McGrath and Charles Lucas, accompanying him, gave him a life-threatening cocktail. It consisted of 1 milligram of strychnine, a rat poison used in small doses to stimulate the nervous system, that was dissolved in a raw chicken egg. Just imagine what it cost Hicks to drink this in the terrible heat. It helped Hicks a little, but after a while, he was on the verge of getting off the race again. In addition, he saw that another participant, Fred Lords, was running ahead of him, so he saw no sense in sacrificing himself for the second place. However, McGrath and Lucas convinced Hicks that Lords didn't overtake them and couldn't win. As a result, 3 kilometers before the finish line, Hicks had to drink one more Hell's cocktail, to which half a glass of brandy was added this time. The American was wandering from side to side. He barely could make it to the home stretch, but he got there, though he crossed it in an unusual way. A meter before the finish line, McGrath and Lucas picked up Hicks on their arm and carried him. 4 doctors helped him within an hour. Thomas survived. Experimenter James Sullivan dismissed all protests that Hicks received help during the race and declared him the champion. The time during which he ran was 3 hours, 28 minutes, 53 seconds. Well, in case anyone needs this data. As a result, all these outrages, trash, and why bother attitude were blamed on the fact that along with the Olympic Games, another global event took place, namely the very exhibition, which received much more attention than the Olympics. And it was decided to never again hold the Olympic Games in conjunction with other mass events. And therefore, the next 4th Olympics, which took place in London, were held together with the Franco-British exhibition. Well, that's all for today. It was Brock from Broccoli Academy, and thanks for watching. And of course, don't forget about this video, about likes, subscriptions, sharing it with your friends, and scribbling in the comments.